Hello and welcome. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. The United States has launched large-scale strikes on Venezuela, triggering explosions across Caracas and other cities and setting off a fast-moving political and military crisis. United States President Donald Trump has later claimed that President Nicolás Maduro and his wife Celia Flores were captured by American forces and flown out of the country following the operations. Now, U.S. Attorney General Pamela Bondi has issued a statement giving some clarity on where Maduro is. She has said that Nicolás Maduro and his wife Celia Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. Nicolás Maduro has been charged with narco-terrorism, conspiracy, cocaine importation, conspiracy, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the United States. This statement further reads, and I quote, "They will soon face the American justice on American soil and American courts." With the leadership vanished, who is left to look after Venezuela is the big question. What happens next in the Latin American country is also the million-dollar question. Joining us live, Major General Sudhakarji, geopolitical analyst. Also with us is Group Captain MJ Augustine Vinod, former Indian Air Force officer. We are also being joined by Surinder Singh Lali, international affairs expert on the broadcast. Major General Sudhakarji, let me begin with you first. The big question is, where is Maduro? Do you believe he has already reached the United States of America with his wife? Do you believe he's at an undisclosed location? Is he still in the air, flying currently? Where do we believe Nicolás Maduro is currently?
Good evening, Uday. Thank you. And very compliments to very distinguished co-panelists. Since we are meeting for the first time, virtual means in 2026, Happy New Year to you and everyone in the studio. With regard to the location of Maduro, it is only Donald Trump who knows and his CIA operatives. Nobody knows. As per my assessment, he is in an undisclosed clandestine location, and I'm given to understand he has been flown across Caribbean into American airspace. Maybe Group Captain Augustine would have some preview, or Lali would know about something this, but my input suggests that he is well inside America and not in New York, in an undisclosed kind of a location. Back to you, Uday.
Okay, let me bring in Group Captain Vinod in at this point. Group Captain Vinod, of course, the U.S. Attorney General has hinted that he will soon be facing the American law in American courts. She's also given details of where exactly he is indicted in New York and on what charges. Is that a clear enough hint that Maduro is on American soil? He and his wife have perhaps reached the United States of America along with these, along with all those other American operatives and security force members who carried out this strike in Venezuela?
Good to be with you there, and Happy New Year to you and your team. Yeah, of course, this is happening thousands and thousands of kilometers away from us, but it concerns us for two reasons. A, we just heard some of the noises within the country where people are talking like US lawmakers are saying this and saying that against India's affairs. That, straight away my antenna went up. And this is what exactly that panned out in a couple of days down the road. And secondly, and most importantly, for the powerful, world rules and world laws and international rules and international laws don't apply. The United Nations, as usual, is quite completely silent on this affair. And compare this with Saddam. I mean, I'm not saying Saddam's invasion to Kuwait was legal or illegal. That is not the debate or question here. Saddam invaded Kuwait. Iraq is nowhere. Saddam and his children were unhighlighted. Similar parallel that is happening in Venezuela. But be that as it may, your question, I was just, while you were questioning me, I was going through the social media. The opposition party of Venezuela has leaked out or, controlled leaked image of Maduro being taken into US custody. Like General said, Maduro will face the full wrath of law. The punishment will not run concurrently, it will run sequentially. Running into a few hundred years, Maduro and his great-grand and his great-great-grandchildren will not see so many years, as many years that Maduro is likely to spend behind bars in one of the federal prisons. But most important is the pink line that you see behind me. oil reserves of Venezuela is Saudi and Iraq oil put together, which is more than that. That is the kind of oil reserves that Venezuela is sitting on. That is the interest. And many things are happening all over the world. Why is US not meddling its foot there or getting into their affairs? So it is all about money, honey. Over to you there.
Okay, let me quickly also get in Surinder Singh Lali's perspective on where you believe Maduro has been taken immediately after his capture. Of course, his capture and his wife's capture has been officially confirmed by the United States President as well. Obviously, that's something that the individuals within Venezuela, be it the government or the opposition, are also speaking about and confirming. His ministers, of course, asking for his proof of life as well. The US has not commented on that, but obviously he is alive if he is going to be facing the wrath of the law that the Secretary of State and the Attorney General of the US are hinting at. Surinder Singh Lali, do you believe he's already reached the US as we speak? Where could he possibly have been taken?
Uday, that question from me is beyond my pay grade, but to the best of my knowledge, of course, he's in American custody and he could be in the high seas. And I don't think more than 5 people, even in the US administration, would know where he is, because this has been an excellent surgical way, the way CIA has been working on it, and they simply plucked him out and took it. But today, when I was in college in the first year, and it used to be very cold in New York City, so I didn't have a choice but to watch TV. And why am I telling you this? Because this is exactly what the US has done. Manuel Noriega was removed from power in Panama by the US military invasion in December 1989, and leading to his surrender on the 3rd of January. And what's the date today? The 3rd of January. So this is the same American playbook, where America finds it more convenient to disrupt a country for reasons best known to America, because I don't think if cocaine and drugs is the reason, that most of the cocaine in America comes from Colombia, and the fentanyl comes from China, the chemicals, and then from Mexico. So this is more to do with payback to China in terms of China controlling the rare earth. So the Americans are saying, you come into our backyard, we'll get back to you, because 70 to 80% of the oil from Venezuela goes to China. So this is also hurting China, what is going to pinch them the most because of the way China's oil requirements are. And number two, Uday, I feel that this is a much larger geopolitical insertion into Venezuela than actually for the reasons that America claims, because 30% of the Americans do not approve of this. And my last point today is that I find it extremely, feel like laughing over it. America has become a theater of the absurd, because if this is about cocaine, then Donald Trump on the 1st of January, December, pardoned the former Honduran president, Juan Orlando Hernandez, who was caught with 500 kilos of cocaine and is serving a 45-year-old sentence in the United States. And then Donald Trump wants a Nobel Prize for what? For starting another war. So they have done what they did in Bangladesh. They implanted a UNIS, and I think now they're going to implant Maria Corona Machado, so that America can deal with the country with the larger oil reserves with one single window clearance, because democracy is messy and it becomes difficult for America to deal with them. So be it Pakistan, the general, the air marshal there, or the chief marshal over here, they just create these sort of dictators so that they can create the oil. And Americans' financial supremacy is there. But American hegemony is up for revision, and this is exactly the playbook America through CIA and the think tank plays, where they go disrupt a government, implant their individual, and then live happily thereafter.
Yes. Let me now also go back across to Major General Sudhakarji to just analyze on what's next now for Venezuela. Of course, Marco Rubio has said very clearly in his statement earlier in the day that Nicolás Maduro, according to the US, was not the president of Venezuela. He was not the legitimate government in Venezuela. He was mainly a head of a cartel. What then next for Venezuela? What do you believe the US wants to happen there now? What do you believe will happen there now post Maduro's capture by the United States of America?
Uday, if there is a logical strategy adopted by America, then perhaps Maduro should not have been removed for a regime change because it gives them nothing except for the hidden agenda. The hidden agenda is, as far as America is concerned, the CIA, they have got 5 distinct objectives to look for. The distinct objectives are centering around oil fields, which has got a market of almost close to 2.6 trillion US dollar in the global market. Look for market for pharmaceuticals. It's got a market of 1.8 to 2.1 trillion dollar US dollar. Looking for defense product markets, the markets which can buy the defense products from the defense industry of US, around 2.1 trillion dollar. Looking for the drug money, wherever the drug cartels. We all know Venezuela is nowhere close to the drugs like Mr. Lali has brought out, so has Vinod. Uh, Last but not the least is the rare earth element. This is the last, I would say, elephant in the room without which Donald Trump will have sleepless nights. So with these objectives, CIA goes into operational mode for regime change and prop up a government which is a puppet government which will toe the lines to meet the demands of USA anytime and every time. It is illogical to actually comprehend as to why they should attack or carry out kinetic attrition on Venezuela radar and surveillance system to carry out a regime change 4,500 to 5,000 kilometers away from the shortest border of USA to Caracas. This is sounding very ridiculous. Panama would have been, yes, quite a logical target, but not Venezuela. If Venezuela is there, then there are something beyond that is visible to the naked eye. What are those things? First and foremost thing is that China has gone too deep into the backyard of the Americas, that is the Latin America, whether it is Venezuela or Colombia, or you talk about Bolivia or Peru or Chile or any country, Argentina, all over. China's dominance and penetration under the heading of BRI is unparalleled. USA may do anything, it cannot come anywhere close to it. So USA, in a state of desperation, despite being called as a declining superpower, despite having the debt today is 38 trillion US dollar. It means they require 1 trillion US dollar simply to service the interest. And to run the country, they require 6 trillion US dollar. They generate just about 4 trillion per annum. There is a deficit of 2 trillion here, 1 trillion for servicing the interest, $3 trillion. Where the hell they are going to actually generate such kind of funds? Therefore, they are channelizing their effort to Monroe's doctrine. Monroe doctrine, essentially, they are saying that whatever has been institutionalized way back in 1823 by President James Monroe and with an agreement with Europe should be restored status quo. That means the complete dominance, security, safety of both North and South America should remain the domain head and responsibility of America. And they have, thankfully, better late than never, they realize this particular deficiency. They are trying to restore status quo ante and fill up the gap or get into the gap by pushing back China as much as possible. How far they will succeed, I don't know. Coming specifically in one line to answer your question, what is going to happen? What next in Venezuela? Well, bringing law and order, I fear there is going to be an anarchy kind of a situation. There is going to be public unrest. There will maybe, whichever country regime change has been imposed, all the countries without exception, they have gone through a kind of a parallel sequence of events. One of the event is total unrest, total agitation, total disturbance. So that kind of thing should not happen since it has been a surgical, like Mr. Lali said, a clinical operation. I say it is a surgical operation with no damage or minimum damage except for degradation of the radar and surveillance elements.
Okay.
Therefore, their main name should be to take stock of the law and order. Vice President rightfully should take over the charge, and election should be conducted in a manner which is driven by the rules-based international order. Back to
Right.
you.
Let me take that to you as well for your perspective, Group Captain Vinod, on what's next now for Venezuela. What do you believe is likely to be the next course of action domestically within the country after this a big strike by the US?
Good question, Uday. Thank you for being pointed and clinical. Let me start by saying, if anyone thinks that everything was hunky dory under Maduro in Venezuela, I think it would be a wrong statement to make. Everything wasn't, for a simple reason. Hamas had a field day in Venezuela. The drug cartels were, running amok all over the country. There is no two ways about it. That said, did that drug end up on the shores of America? That's a very big question mark, because most of the drugs to America is coming from Colombia and maybe Mexico, and other synthetic drugs are coming from elsewhere, probably from China or wherever. Most of the synthetic drugs are home cooked, and it is so easy to home cook them, and probably it is a cottage industry within United States to cook fentanyl and the works. That said, um, let's look at the history of regime changes. 1953, if you remember, PM Mohammad Mossadegh, he nationalized the oil of Iran. Ahmed Shah Pahlavi was put there. Guatemala, 1954, President Arbanez or somebody, he was replaced by military junta. South Vietnam, 1963, military junta. DM, if I remember correctly, was assassinated. Then 1964, this was President Goulart was in Brazil, fully not getting his name. He was, replaced. 73, Salvador, Saddam Hussein. Even today, Iraq is in a fragmented country. So the list goes on and on. Recently, we saw what happened in our neighborhood. A puppet prime minister was put there, and everything has gone to dogs in Bangladesh. So a lot of things have been changed. And like the Sir said, it's a typical playbook that is being enacted or that is being, put to play. And Lalisa has beautifully covered it. Yesterday, in one of the channels, I was saying, tomorrow is going to be the attack. Today, the 101 Airborne plus their special forces, their recon forces. Yesterday, they carried out diversionary attack.
Okay.
And that was all over Venezuelan news, and it was in Spanish. None of the mainstream media picked it up. Since I know a little bit of Spanish, I was looking at the channel. While I was talking talking to you,
Yes.
I was telling one of the
Okay.
journalists that this is right now it is happening.
Okay.
So things are going to be
Yes, because what's
bad
happened,
or good.
what's happened here is a double whammy for Venezuela. Obviously, it's a twin-pronged approach that the US has used. They've obviously carried out those large-scale strikes, the details of which will be put out in that press conference later today that we're expecting from the White House, Surinder Singh Lali. So we'll get more details about where all they've struck, of course, later. And when we get the details of the strikes, obviously we'll get a better sense of the motives as well. And Maduro's capture and his wife's capture has happened as well. So it's a twin-pronged strategy that the US adopted. What then happens next in Venezuela? Whose government continues? Who will be the decision maker? Where is Venezuela headed, according to you?
Venezuela is heading into turmoil, and as Dr. Vinod said that in Venezuela things were hunky-dory. This is exactly what the United States of America needs. It finds a legit reason which is legit to them and not maybe to that country, and enters that country, and then they start talking all those lectures and sermons and morality, and then they inflict changes. Iraq, as Major General Sudhakarji said, was weapons of mass destruction found? No. Colonel Powell was screaming in the Senate. Was Bin Laden found? No. Was September 11 link found? No, but they went to Iraq. That's a different discussion. Why they went to Iraq? It was AIPAC and the Jewish lobby prevailed, but they ruined Iraq. I mean, even if things are rudimentary, they're not even rudimentary anymore. So America needs places where things are not hunky-dory. They find that little crack, and then they go and divide the crack and use CIA, the think tanks like they do in Bangladesh, and then they fund, use their money, and then they put in their puppets in and run the show. Since World War II, Uday, America has directly and indirectly, I don't want to list the 70 countries that are lying across from me, America, 71 now, if I include Bangladesh, America has intervened in 71 countries trying to inflict a regime change, right from China in 1945 to Bangladesh. So this is the exact fertile ground, be it be oil or be it be bases or be it be rare earth minerals. They will find something. I mean, what is great about Pakistan? But, they have chosen to keep the Pakistani journal in their pocket over a democracy, which we in America are. All those talks are out the window. End of the day, it's the mercantilist American president who is leveraging the entire United States of America for his final interest, be it be Jared Kushner or be it be, his golf courses or what they're going to do in Gaza. We'll do another program on this. It is all about furthering the agenda of the Donald Trump, in which now United States of America is getting consumed in the process at the cost of American reputation. I mean, what's America's reputation today amongst their allies? Who wants to trust them? They like chaos because then, as they say in English, in chaos lies opportunity, and that's where the American military industrial corporation comes in, and then they sell their arms. So their interest is nothing but to create chaos so that they can get orders and their drones and their 52 and their F-35s and everything else. So there, for me, I don't think one needs to be a rocket scientist to know. They're going to, play with Venezuela. And till the time they're not able to put their implant there, it's going to be bad for people. And let me tell you, it's not going to be that easy because there's still a lot of Maduro loyalists lying there. So it's not that, Afghanistan, America failed after $32 billion. So let's not underestimate Venezuela also, because it's not going to be that easy, but who cares? America only understands as far as chaos is far away from them. The only time it hits them home, because they don't have borders from any side.
Absolutely.
Canada is like a backyard. Let me complete. The only time America got a taste of their medicine was when September 11 happened. Otherwise, they all watch chaos around the world only on their CNNs and NBCs and their TV programs. So I rest my case.
Last word to you, Major General Sudhakarji. Last word to you before I take a break.
Group Captain Vinod said, last word is, USA is a superpower even now by all standards. It is expected to be an epitome of rules-based international order. What has been demonstrated in regime change in Venezuela is a classical antithesis. Is this what they expect India to behave and invade into Bangladesh to stop all the nonsensical activities taking place? Should we follow the example of USA? Should there be nobody asking for questions to Putin? Then why is the Western alliance after Putin and Russia as far as the invasion into Ukraine is concerned? There is much more. USA has to answer all these questions. If some rule of law has to prevail in this planet and some meaningful, substantive, liberal democratic value system is to be followed. That's it. Thank you so much. Back to you, please.
All right. My thanks to our guests for joining us. We're slipping into a very short break. At that point, this remains our big story through the day. Don't go anywhere. We're back on the other side on NewsX.